Hi, I'm Maria, MBA, three-time business founder and passionate mom of five. At Mom MBA, we take the best principles from leadership and business and apply them to the most important company, the one within our own four walls. Welcome to the Mom MBA Show. Hey there, friends. Welcome to the Mom MBA Show. I am so glad that you are here. We have some exciting things happening here around Mom MBA and wanted to just kind of bring you up to speed first before we dive into today's conversation, because we will be talking with the amazing Lizzy Cangro here later in the episode. But I just wanted to bring you up to speed on what's happening over here in my neck of the woods. So I don't even know where to go with you guys, because it's been a minute since we've been here on the podcast together, and a lot of things have happened in life and in the business and all the things. But I guess what's important is that I've just been thinking about what are the needs that y'all have? Like, how can I best serve y'all? And what has come up is this creation of this incredible conference that's going to be called the Mom CEO Conference, and it's happening in March. And I couldn't be more thrilled. I remember as a young mom, I think I had like two kids at the time. We had just moved to California. I was kind of in this place of overwhelm, and I discovered that I needed to get on top of the businessy details of my home. And so I started applying, the things from business school to my home, like starting to organize things. But there were still some gaps where I was like, well, how do I actually execute and, really make my home more of what I hoped it would be, right? And so what I did was I joined an online conference, and I started watching and learning from speakers and experts, and it really made such a huge difference in my life. Since then, I've actually continued to follow several of the people that I heard from and have stayed connected with them. And it's been a beautiful journey as they've been part of my journey in motherhood. And as I was thinking about how we serve best here at Mom MBA, this conference kept coming back to mind. I was like, I really would like to create that experience for other moms out there who perhaps are trying to grow their business while raising kids. Let's just start here. It's a tricky thing just to raise kids. Like, being a mom is, in my opinion, and I think that this is probably a universal opinion for most, is that it is one of the toughest jobs in the entire world. It really is. And then whenever you put entrepreneurship on top of that, which is also one of the more challenging jobs out there, you're balancing wanting to be at the field trip with your child, but then also wanting to make sure that you have enough time to prepare for that sales call, or to make that change on your website, or to get that offer put out there, or whatever it is, right? You've got like, I need to work on my business, but then I want to be present for my kids. I want to go do this, I want to do that. And it's a little tricky. And so over the years, I have been looking myself for people and tools and experts on how to do it. And so in this conference, in the Mom CEO Conference, I'm bringing together some of those experts that I've found along this journey to be able to share with you some of their best tools to be able to thrive as a mom. We're going to be talking about things along the lines of your health and nutrition, because, girlfriend, as you know as well as I do, if you're not feeling well, you can't do nothing. And then we're also going to be talking about organizational systems for your home as well as your business. We're talking about some money matters, and then we're going to be also talking about our energy and elevating our energy, things that we can do to support ourselves, whether it be in our environment, our habits, those types of things. So that's kind of a little sneak preview. I want to just send you over to momceoconference.com, and you can check out all the amazing speakers there. And if you happen to be listening to this podcast after the spring of 2024 Mom CEO Conference has aired, don't you worry. Go over to that website. We got recordings for you. You are not left stranded without the help. So head on over there. It's going to be great. I am so excited about it, because it is a passion of mine to gather and to provide you with these tools from the experts. So anyway, without further ado, we're actually going to be having a conversation today with Lizzy Cangro. She is one of our presenters. Lizzy is an expert nutritionist. She's a wellness coach and a multi-award winning author who helps busy, high-achieving women balance their hormones so that they can feel better within as little as 4 weeks, even when life is busy. holding a master's in nutritional sciences from the University of Cambridge and a master's in nutrition from King's College in London. She combines science with an empathetic understanding to help women reconnect with their incredible bodies so that they can stop struggling and start thriving. So, without further ado, here is our wonderful conversation with the incredible Lizzy Cangro. Hey there, friends. Welcome to today's show. I am so thrilled to welcome with us Lizzy Cangro. She is an expert nutritionist as well as a award-winning author, and she is also a speaker at our Mom CEO conference this spring. And so wanted to bring her on the podcast for you guys to get to know her, to hear some of what she's got to offer. She's been a friend for we were introduced a couple of years ago through business connections, and we've been able to stay in touch. And I've just been so inspired by her work, and I wanted to bring her to the show so you also can learn from her, get to know her, and hear her message. And so, Lizzy, first of all, tell us a little bit more about you, your background, how you became a nutritionist, all the things.
All the things.
Yeah, all
Well,
the
first of
things.
all, thank you so much for having me, Maria. I really appreciate you inviting me on the podcast. And it's really a pleasure to serve your audience. I essentially am super passionate about helping my clients to feel better without the fad diets, without the inner critic, and so that you can just live your most aligned and fulfilled life. I do this through a combination of nutrition, movement, and mindset. And the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because I've been on my own journey to ditching the kind of diet mentality and silencing my own inner critic, and achieving more love and compassion towards my body.
Mm.
And so I just want to share the tools that have helped me and have helped my clients. So anything I can do to do that, then I'm living my purpose.
I love it. In our conference, she's going to be talking about the 5 secrets to sustain your energy as a busy mom. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Can you talk to us a little bit more about, why is it important that I guess it's pretty obvious. Like, why do we need to sustain our energy as a busy mom? It's because like our energy is always fluctuating. But tell us a little bit more about why nutrition plays into that.
Yeah, so I feel like, when you are a busy mom, your world is kind of external to you, right? First and foremost, like, care and deeply and love your kids and want to make sure they are well looked after, nourished. And that can come at a cost to thinking about and prioritizing your own needs. And it's such a cliche, but it's so, so true and very relevant. But when you go on a commercial aircraft, they say, in the safety briefing, make sure that you put on your own oxygen mask first before you help others. And I think that's just so relevant to life in general. And as women, we have been told and sold this idea that if we prioritize ourselves, that is selfish, and that we're bad mothers or bad people if we do that. Now, I saw this in my own life. Like, my mom is the most kind, caring person I have ever met, and she never looked after herself. And I saw that modeled to me at a very young
Mm.
age. So whilst she ensured that she knew that I was loved and nourished, I saw that wasn't her. And from a short-term perspective, she was burnt out. She had trouble with her health, and ultimately, couldn't do all the things that she wanted to do as a result. And then from a long-term perspective, as I said, that was modeled to me. And so I developed tendencies as I grew up of not prioritizing myself and my needs. And as a result, my health also suffered. So when I was at, university and studying, I prioritized work ahead of nourishing myself. And again, that caused burnout. And, that landed me in the hospital, and I was
Oh
no
my
good to
gosh.
anybody in the hospital. So, same goes that if you're a busy mom and you're sort of not prioritizing your nutrition and your health, something's got to give at some point. And if and when that happens, then that can have an impact not only on yourself but also your family and your kids. So it's really, really important from a everybody's perspective that you look after yourself, and just so that you can enjoy life. Like, you only get one shot at this.
Yeah.
So why don't you ensure that you're well nourished and energized so that you can really enjoy life to the fullest with your family? And I think that's really, really important for us to kind of, step back and get a broader perspective of, we only get this amount of time, and why don't we, ensure that we're nourished enough to really fully enjoy it.
Yes, I think sometimes some of us get caught in this track of thinking, oh, I'll just diet Coke my way through the next couple of years. And then after that, then I'll start eating healthier, or start taking care of my body better. I'll start doing this. And in reality, it, really is important that we prioritize our health now
Yeah.
in the middle of it, because especially as we're building our businesses and growing our families, we have to be able to take care of ourselves in order to be able to take care of both of those really big responsibilities. If not, things are going to fall. Our health is going to fail, and also, our children, like you said. And actually, I thought that was really beautiful how you said that about how you were watching and picking up habits from your mom. I think that's a great reminder that the way our children watch us care for ourselves and how we work really does influence them. And so how are we modeling that? And now, I mean, I do want to put this caveat though on the side though, because I know that the mom guilt is a real thing, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, like, am I ruining my kids
Terrible.
because I
No.
am eating goldfish and
None of that.
doing
None
all
of
this
that.
stuff? Like, no, let's kick that to the side. We're not going to talk about that. Well, we're not going to give that too much daylight, because we realize that we're all human. We're all human, and we're just doing the best that we can. But whenever
Yes.
we know better, it empowers us to do better. And so that's why we're having this conversation, is because we want to be able to provide you with some easy steps that you can take to incrementally continue to care for yourself and care for your family and care for all those things that you're doing with your life. So if you're feeling at all guilty about not being a perfect mom in that way, please don't feel that way. That's not what the message is. You are doing the best you can, and we get it. And so we all are. And so grateful to have Lizzy here to give us some tips. So we are busy moms. How can we start to improve our health? How can we start to take just incremental better care of ourselves, so that we can, if we're off track, get back on track, or if we are kind of on track and maybe not moving as fast as we want, so we can move forward faster. So what's something easy that we could perhaps incorporate into our diet, one, and then two, our daily life?
Yeah. So I think let's kind of talk about the sort of lifestyle side of things, because I know through a lot of busy moms, and we talk about this in the conference, low energy and being able to sustain your energy throughout the day is a major kind of topic that a lot of us are interested in. But let's kind of like take one step back and go, okay, what's one thing we can do to just kind of like take better care of ourselves? And
Mhm.
to me, a game changer has been checking in with my body. And I do that first thing in the morning. And that can literally just be like, when you're making your morning beverage, you can kind of like go, how am I like feeling today? Like, do I like emotionally, physically, and mentally?
So do you
Do
just kind of like tune into your brain and just be able to just kind of tune into yourself, almost like a prayer,
yeah,
and just say, how am I
yeah.
doing?
Yeah, I mean, I I have my own little morning ritual where after I fed the cats, I sit and I have my breakfast, and I'm in my chair with a cozy blanket, and that's when I kind of like go, how am I feeling today? But it can literally just be sort of like a small sort of meditation if you are inclined to do that, or do a little prayer, or just even as as I say, like making coffee in the morning, and just kind of go, oh, like, how are my energy levels today? Because some mornings you might wake up and go, oh my gosh, I had such a great night's sleep and I feel really energized. And other days you might be like, oh my goodness, I feel really tired. And that's going to inform your strategy for the day. Because on days when I have more energy, maybe I do want to go work out at the gym or whatever. But on days when I don't have the energy, I can then go, oh, I'm going to be more compassionate to myself and not try and do 1 million things, and maybe go to bed earlier. And, it kind of informs your strategy. So I think that's a really, really powerful tool that you can use. and it just kind of reconnects yourself to your body. And a lot of us have become disconnected from our bodies over the years because, again, we've been told and sold all of these different things, like what we should be doing, and not necessarily paying attention to what our bodies are like
Yeah.
asking.
Do you do cycle tracking? Do
I
you
do.
do, okay,
Yes.
tell me a little bit more about
Yes.
that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So that has, again, that's been a game changer. So essentially, every day, I track my cycle. So I monitor my body temperature as a way of kind of seeing where I am in terms of my hormones. So progesterone and estrogen are like different, have different effects on our body temperature. So that's a really good way of like seeing where you are with regards to ovulation, and maybe like seeing where you might be close to your period. And then I also kind of like monitor again energy levels. So in the first half of your cycle, you're probably going to have a little bit more energy than your second half because, again, estrogen and progesterone have different impacts on our bodies, including our energy levels. So I do track my cycle, and I encourage women again to kind of like tune in to their bodies and use some of those signals to kind of like be informed about their cycles and kind of make peace with sort of some of the aspects of their cycle, so that again they can inform the strategy that they use to manage things like painful periods, PMS, low energy, low mood, breast tenderness, all of that kind of stuff. Because there are certain things that we can do from a nutritional standpoint and a lifestyle standpoint to really support our cycles. So I think that's
Yeah.
really, really powerful.
I recently started doing this app called Stardust. It's been really fascinating because it's brought more awareness and realizing that like our bodies as women are made differently, obviously. I mean, it's physically obvious our bodies are different than men, but inside the way that our energy levels flow and ebb, just ebb and flow
Yeah.
is so telling, and it's given me a lot of grace for the times of the month whenever I just am like, gosh, what's wrong with me? Like I have no energy. I like just want to take a nap all day. But then I realized I'm like, no, this is, and I look at my watch, look at the app or whatever, and I'm like, okay, oh, I'm at this part of my cycle and I should be more gentle. And so if that's interesting to you as well, if you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know when I'm going to have energy and when I'm not, you know, take a look at that. There's actually even a whole, we're not going to talk about it in this podcast today, but there's a whole science around like launching your business or, doing sales during certain parts of your cycle and then doing other types of work in other parts of your cycle. So
I
yeah,
do have I
yeah.
do have a guide on my
Oh
website
yeah.
for women who are interested in sort of like learning the basics
Oh, that's
of
awesome.
cycle tracking. So like if you head to my website, there's a like completely complimentary, like 10-page, like step-by-step guide about, the nutritional and exercise components of supporting your cycle and tracking. So if you're interested in that, just head to my website and you can download that.
That is so good. I'm so glad. We're going to link your website here wherever you're watching the show. We're going to have it right there in the comments so you guys can go download that and get that. It is fascinating stuff
It
to,
is.
to,
It
to learn
really
about. Yeah.
is.
So I know that Lizzy also uses food. She teaches her clients how to use food in order to be able to help those energy levels, not be so much of a roller coaster throughout the day, right? If you can give us some two tips to be able to use food to sustain our energy throughout the day.
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, I would say make sure that you're eating regularly and eating enough. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see women make, again, because we've been told like the key to health is eat less and move more. And as a result, women aren't fueling themselves adequately throughout the day.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, again, as you said, we're not mini men. Our physiology is very different, and it puts a lot of strain on our body and our energy levels if we're not eating enough and doing things like intermittent fasting. So I always recommend to make sure that you're having an adequate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, eating kind of between 3 to 6 hours. Again, it will change depending on your time of the month, because again, cravings and hunger levels do ebb and flow, but making sure that you are eating regularly and eating enough. And then incorporating certain nutrients into your diet. Slow release carbohydrates, really, really important source of energy for your body and your brain. That's going to help you ensure that physically can get through the day, but also you're not suffering from brain fog. So plenty of fruits, vegetables, oats. What else is there? Oh, quinoa, like brown rice, like all of those types of things. Really, really great for helping you have sustained energy throughout your day. So incorporate those into your meals with some protein and some healthy fats, and that's going to set you up for the day really, really nicely.
Are there certain nutrients that we should be looking out for that maybe women historically have not had enough of in their diet?
Oh, so I literally wrote a newsletter about this morning, which is a great question. So we have our macronutrients and our micronutrients. So macronutrients are protein, carbs, fat. And I think historically, a lot of women have cut carbs, and there's the sort of low fat diet fad. But in terms of our micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, a lot of us are deficient in certain minerals. So, for example, calcium,
Mm.
which is really important for our bone health. Iron, because we actually need more iron than men, especially at reproductive age, because we bleed every month. So we need to make sure that we're getting enough iron. And if you're plant-based, it's harder to get iron from plant-based sources than animal sources, so that can be tricky. And then also zinc is a really, really important mineral for women's reproductive health. And if you are deficient in zinc, then sometimes you can experience things like PMS, as
Mm.
well as infertility, and it can increase potentially, some studies have shown, your risk of developing some forms of cancer. So making sure that you're getting enough of those minerals, for example, via green leafy veggies, nuts and seeds. If you are a meat eater, meat and shellfish are really, really great sources of zinc and iron. So just kind of, again, going back to basics and make sure you have a very balanced diet. It's really, really important.
That is so good. For me, I think I'm like, okay, iron, I'll just eat, I could eat a steak or eat more fish, in my diet with calcium. I'm like, okay, I kind of know where to find sources of that with different vegetables and other things. I don't personally drink milk, but there's other things that, I could get that from. One of the little questions that popped up in my mind as you were talking was like zinc. Like, I guess it's not really there hasn't been a lot of or as much a conversation around zinc as there
Yeah.
have been around iron and calcium, at least in
Mhm.
my world. And so I'm just
Yeah.
curious about like where would I find zinc naturally in my food, or what can I increase eating to get that naturally?
Yeah. So again, meat and shellfish, just like iron, are really great
Okay.
sources. And then if you're plant-based, sort of beans and lentils can be really, really great sources of zinc. Whole grains, and then leafy green veggies are good sources of plant-based zinc.
Okay.
And there's a little bit more nuance to it, because not only do we need to consider the actual nutrients themselves individually, but we also have to consider other nutrients that might have kind of like an antagonistic effect. So, for example, copper in the diet can lower your zinc levels. So, again, just
Hmm.
making sure that you kind of like are really getting enough zinc to counteract any copper in your diet that's going to kind of like decrease zinc's absorption. So,
That's
that's,
super, super
yeah.
interesting. And I know that you have several resources available over on your website. So we're going to link that over to y'all here in the comments. You're going to get the cycle tracking. I believe you also have some shopping lists that will give you ideas for nutrient-rich foods as well. And so I want to just direct you all over there to go and check out Lizzy. She is such a bright light. And if you could give one piece of advice that could help increase your vitality, your energy, as a busy mom, like what would that one thing be?
Wow, that is it's a really important question, and it's a very interesting question. And I think it's very individual. But something that I think really was key to me feeling better in my body was just reconnecting with it. And whatever that means to you, I feel like that is so essential, because when we feel connected with anything, we feel better about it.
Mhm.
And so if you can find a way to just build a relationship with your body and look at it like any other relationship and nurture it, whether or not that's physically through giving it more nutrients, or as I say, checking in with it more, or learning more about your cycle, then that's going to make you feel better. So that would be my piece of advice.
I love it. Thank you so much, Lizzy, for being here with us today. And y'all, if you want to go connect with Lizzy, she's over on Instagram. She's got a great website. And we'll, like I mentioned already a couple times in the show, we're going to link that all here in the show notes. So thank you again for being here with us. And we will see you in the conference.
Thanks so much, Maria. I appreciate you.
Hey, friends, thanks for being with us here on the podcast today with the incredible Lizzy Cangro. I hope that you got some actionable tools that you can take home and be able to improve your life. She's got so much more to offer here in her presentation on the Mom CEO Conference. So go to momceoconference.com to check it out. We also have more than 10 other speakers who are going to be coming in, bringing their best knowledge and tools for you as a busy mom entrepreneur. So go check it out, momceoconference.com, and I will see you there.